friends, my name is Joey Balestrieri, and I just wanted to start today's project by showing you the finished piece on me. So I'm filming and editing sort of upside down, but because I am using crystal beads, I wanted to show you the finished product, and then I'll turn the camera down to my beading mat and show you what I did to accomplish this. I also did these earrings, and in a separate video is the ear wire. So actually I'll show you these. I did two different styles of ear wires, just with craft wire with an anti-tarnish coating that is interchangeable, because I am known for my gold-filled interchangeable lever back earrings, and I wanted to give everybody another alternative to that. So I'll show you on my beading mat what these look like. I made the crystal drops to match my necklace, and they are interchangeable, so they can come off of this ear wire. Actually, I will take this off. This one is done a little differently. This one has a stopper bead on the end after I formed my ear wire and made my little hook that goes in the ear. And then these crystal and gold earrings coordinate with my necklace. And I did want to pop in and just tell you that this was inspired by a movie that I was watching with my son. I don't know if any of you do that. Tell me in the comments if you do that. But when I'm watching a movie or a singer or anything like that, I find myself looking at the jewelry. And I zeroed in on an actress in a mystery movie, and she was playing the senior partner in a law firm. So she was dressed in a really pretty pink blazer and a white dress, and just had this really bold crystal necklace. And I could not take my eyes off that necklace. So I actually took my phone and took a picture of the TV screen and then blew it up so that I could kind of really see how it was made. So mine is obviously different, but I do get fascinated at what a stylist or a costume designer on a movie set will put on the actresses for the roles, for the parts that they're playing. There's so much artistry in that. And also I glean a lot of things for like my own style and my own fashion by watching what these professionals will choose to put on an actress who is playing a role. And so I just became so inspired by this very simple crystal and gold necklace. It is super simple, a totally beginner friendly project. In fact, if you do this project, I think you would be completely adept at using your tool at the end of the necklace, or your pliers if you do the loops with pliers. I used my one-step looper. That saves my hand, but it just makes the repetitive nature of this very consistent with the loops. And so anyway, I wanted to show it to you on, because for me, this is classic elegance. This is timeless style. It is bold and stunning, but at the same time, it's subtle and very classy and elegant. And I could see this with a denim and diamonds look. I could see this being dressed up or down to wear it with a blouse or a blazer, but also a denim friendly or with a chambray, and do kind of that crystal and denim, or denim and diamonds look that, is to me also timeless. So I just wanted to pop in. And then before I turn the camera down on my mat, on a personal note, I get so many comments, overwhelming comments from all of you about health challenges and the reason that you do jewelry art and what our craft does in your life. And I am the same. And you've heard me mention, if you've been on my channel before, about my son. When he was 3 years old, he was diagnosed with Duchenne muscular dystrophy, and it's pretty bad. He walked up until about 5 years ago, and now he's in a wheelchair. And I am his caregiver, and it is a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week job. And we travel 2.5 hours each way to a research hospital when he has to go, which is about every month. He has several standing medical appointments every week. A nurse comes here every week to do an infusion. And we were back and forth from the hospital a lot this last month, a lot more than usual. He was being looked at for a brand new treatment for Duchenne. And sadly, he's not compatible. His blood is not compatible for the treatment. So I'm home. I put my jammies on with my son, and we were watching movies, and I got inspired with with this piece of jewelry. And so we're just going to keep going, one foot in front of the other, one day at a time, keep doing what we've been doing. And like, he's looking forward to a Lego event that I'm going to take him to this week. So it's just a thing that I hear from all of you about how you manage the things that are happening to us in life. And our craft, our jewelry art, and the YouTube community are just wonderful for that. So thanks for indulging my little update, my little chat, and I'm going to turn the camera down to my mat and give you a real close-up look at the earrings and at the necklace and the really simple steps to creating this if it's a project you'd like to do. Thanks a lot for indulging, and I'll turn the camera down. Just be a second for you. So this is what I am starting with, and for those of you in America, these are craft store items from our national chain called Michael's Crafts. But if you're not in America, these are just crystals that are faceted, and they have the AB or Aurora Borealis finish on the crystals. So I mean, look at this incredible sparkle. As I said in my introduction, this was so stunning and so simple on this actress in this movie that I got diverted from the movie and I was looking at her jewelry. But this is what I have. And then I also picked these up, these little spiked like teardrops, and they are also faceted. I don't know if I'm going to do earrings with these, but sometimes, oh, and this is from a different craft store here in America, but this one that Michael's carries, it has 3 or 4 sizes of crystal, and I am going to be working with this larger size. Let's see, it's a 10 millimeter. So on this strand, there's a 4 millimeter, 6 millimeter, 8 millimeter, and 10 millimeter faceted rondelle crystal. And the rondelle, for newer people, is like this more squishy, not round. It's more of a compact round. And so I am going to cut these apart and get started. I will be doing most of this project off camera, but let's bring in a little dish. But this is super simple. It's basically going to be one step and repeat it to desired length, and not everything has to be complicated. And some of the most beautiful, most stunning pieces of jewelry and of art are the most simple and, completely uncomplicated. So that's the idea here. I don't know if I'll need 2 strands because I want to get to between 17 and 18 inches, which is quite unusual for me because I like long necklaces. Fashion stylists, it's a trick that they have for elongating the body. But this one, I just think it needs to rest right below my collarbone. So the other thing is, I'm going to use my 1.5 millimeter one-step looper because I love that since I'm making all of these components that all of my loops will be consistently the same, but also it really saves my hand from that constant twisting motion that we do with simple loops. And there are 3 sizes to this. Let me show you. I have all 3. This is the medium size. It's 2.25 millimeter. This is the largest one. It makes a 3 millimeter loop. And then this is the smallest one, 1.5 millimeter loop. I'm going to be using that one just because I'm going off of my inspiration piece from this movie, and it was the connecting of the crystals in the inspiration piece was a very not unnoticeable. It was minimal. Like mostly when you looked at the necklace, it was just these beautiful sparkling floating crystals around her neck. So I'm going to go for the less obtrusive of the loops. But here's where, if you're going to do this project, you could make so many adjustments. You could do this with all wire wrapped loops and get a little bit more presence in between. You could also string this on like a 49 strand white quartz soft flex wire to, you know, have just really no metal showing. Like, there's a lot of variations. If you like a larger scale, you could go up to a 12 millimeter crystal on these strands from the craft store. You know, you could do this as a really petite necklace, and I may even go back and do a smaller scale to where and layer them. I may do that. So when I do this kind of thing, I put on a movie and I'm gonna just repeat and repeat the steps. So also, before I get started, I've pulled out 2 different clasps. I haven't decided which one. I'm leaning towards this pave gold magnetic clasp. I got these at a bead show, and they do have to have an anti-tarnish coating on them, but I also have this beautiful little gold flower clasp, which is from the Bead Box Bargains, the sister website to Bargain Bead Box. There is the code for that. I can actually put a link in the description box to the website, because if you do subscribe to the monthly box, Bargain Bead Box, you will get a code in your insert every month that gives you 30% off the website, and you can use it over and over again as many times as you want. If you don't get the box, you can still subscribe. I mean, you can still shop the website. You just don't get the discount. But I do have a discount code that's good on shopping or the box, so I can put that in the description box. So I'm just going to set these guys out here. That's kind of my habit, to kind of put things on my mat and look at them. And, you know, as I get going on my work, I'll decide what my heart wants to add in. So I'm going to be using 20 gauge wire, and I will show you what I'm going to do. But as I said, you can totally do this with your pliers. I always say that. Get your simple loops in there however you are comfortable with. For me, I do deal with some arthritis in my hands, so when I have like a whole beaded chain to make, you know, this is the very traditional, I am not reinventing the wheel. This is a classic rosary chain style. As I said, simple, 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 but, you know, hopefully it's going to be super elegant. So if you're going to use the one-step looper, you put your wire under this little mandrel right here, and there is a guide hole in the back of the tool, but since I have nothing on the wire, I don't need to go through the guide hole, because that just would waste like ½ inch of wire. As long as my wire is just past the little back jaw of the tool, I'll be fine. So I'm just going to go a little bit past the back jaw, and I close my tool gently, and I'm going really slowly to show you the steps. Then I'm going to speed up a little bit, but I just close it gently. I'm maintaining control here so that I can see what's happening inside the tool, and then I'm going to let the tool make the cut for me. So it does a blunt, fresh cut. You can totally skip that step with your cutters. It does it for you. I'll always have a little pile of stuff here when I'm done. And then I close the tool all the way. I can already see that it made the loop for me. And then I pull my wire down so that my wire is now centered on the loop that it just made. And while the tool is holding on to everything for me, I can warm the wire, straighten the wire, you know, do anything that I need. And when I take the tool away, I have a perfect loop. And since I have so many to do, they will all be exactly the same, because they're all getting wrapped around this little mandrel in this tool. Now, depending on if you put the wire in at the strange angle, sometimes your loop here will be open a little bit and it needs to be closed. But I am not going to touch that right now, because I am planning to connect this loop to the next one to the next one. I'm not going to use jump rings. As I said, my inspiration piece was basically seeing the crystals on this necklace. So I'm going to try it that way. Sometimes I will decide to go back and add like a small jump ring if I don't feel my piece is fluid enough, or, you know, if I feel like it's not hanging right. But I'm going to start out this way. But also, if you if you know you're going to be connecting your components with jump rings, this is a great opportunity to just tidy up the loop and then open and close your pliers on that loop. It work hardens it, and just it gives your piece a little bit of strength. But as I said, I'm going to be connecting these, or at least that's my plan. So I'm going to thread on one of my crystals, and then I don't know why, but I do my loops going in opposite directions. So the one-step looper always makes the loop going up, and this one is going down, and I'm just going to alternate up down through my whole piece. So this time I will use the guide hole. Since I have all that wire and I have a bead on, I'll thread the wire through that back hole, and then again just gently close the tool just so I can see that my bead is not tight up against the tool, and then I will let it make that fresh cut and the loop. And before I close all the way, I just gently pull my bead component down. It gets the bead away from the jaw of the plier, and it also centers this loop with this one. And then if you feel like it's a little bit misaligned, you can take another pair of pliers while you're still holding on to everything and straighten it. And when I take that away, my component is done. And like I say, sometimes if your wire is at a little angle, this loop will be open, and I'm just going to, do it because I'm showing you the steps. But since I am going to make a whole necklace full of these components, I'm not going to bother with that. And then when get going on this, I don't put my tool down. I'm going to go again, just making that fresh cut, bending the wire, and then I'll take it off, and I'll just swing the tool out of the way, but keep it in my hand and thread another crystal on, and get my loop in the direction I want, and I will just keep going. So for me, this is a great way to make a beaded chain. I don't end up with pain in my hand, and I can put a movie on or listen to something in Italian and get all my components made, and that's the plan here. So I'm going to, as I said, do most of this off camera, but I wanted to just get a few made and show you the simplicity. And for people that have jewelry making experience, this may be completely boring and not interesting to you at all, because this is like so basic and so simple. It's a timeless style, a beaded chain where you're really just featuring the beads, and I just love it. But for newer people, this is a wonderful starting out project. A beaded chain was one of my very first projects decades ago, because you're repeating the same step over and over, and by the time you're finished with the piece, believe me, you've got it down. But I'm going to connect these directly. So I'm going to open this loop and connect this loop to it, and then close this loop. Now I can work harden and make sure that that connection is closed. So that's why I'm not fussing with my loops as they come out of the tool. And I'm just going to keep going. This also gives you a chance to check all your loops and make sure that they are closed really well. And put your pliers to every one, which I'm a little bit of a perfectionist with my jewelry, and I do tend to fuss with things. So like at that connection point, I'll go ahead and do that one. And there is the start of my beautiful crystal sparkle necklace. And I am just going to continue to about an 18-inch length. It's already stunning, and it's only 3 beads. Okay, so I will do the rest of this off camera. And as I sit here and make my components, I am going to be deciding on which clasp I want to add, and I will probably either make some jump rings, or I have some beautiful diamond cut gold filled jump rings to attach the clasp, because I really like the back of a piece or the underside of a piece of my jewelry to look just as good as the front side. So I pay a little bit of attention to that. And then I do another little detail at the end of my pieces, and I may cut open another one of these strands for that. I have them setting off to the side here. So I am going to keep working, get a little bit more wire, and I will be right back. It'll just be a second for you. Oh my gosh, you guys, I am so excited about this. It is the length that I want, and I did decide on this pave clasp, but I do know that this is just base metal, so I am going to coat that with my Permalac protective coating. It's anti-tarnish, and magnetic clasps are a pain with your pliers, but I'm just going to do what I always do and just get a nice coat of this Permalac. And the cool thing about this product is that, as you can see, I'm brushing it right over the crystals, and it does not cause them to turn cloudy or milky. It's a really cool product. Both sides coated really well, and set it in this little plastic dish to dry while we connect the clasp, or connect the other things, the clasp. I'm looking at the clasp. I'm really excited about this project, and I'll tell you, from a style viewpoint, I love this because, to me, this is a bold statement, and all at the same time, it's subtle. To me, this is classic elegance, crystal and gold. Timeless, you know, like always in style, always on trend. And I also see this extremely versatile with a lot of wearability. For me, I would do the denim and diamond looks with this piece, and, you know, wear it with very casual, like denim, a denim jacket, a white t-shirt. It would be beautiful to make it more professional, the way that I saw in the movie, with a blouse and a blazer. But even just, you know, to me, this just is amazing. And I know it is so simple. I know that, again, I am not reinventing the wheel, but I love this so much. So while this little clasp coating dries, let me show you what I have done here. As always happens with me, and this took me about 40 minutes to make all of these components, so just FYI, if you're going to try this project and you're interested in what kind of a commitment in time you would have. And as always happens to me while I'm making, my creativity is flowing and my design brain is on, so I decided to create a little stack of beads and make an earring. So I'm going to do the second one with you. Same, I just played with the different sizes on my strands of crystals. Let me just show you really quickly. I cut all of them open and separated them into bags. So the 8mm all the way down to the 4mm, they're all separated, and I have all of this left. So if I wanted to do a smaller crystal and make another layering piece, I could do that, or a bracelet like in this same way. Honestly, it's so beautiful, and so it's just timeless elegance. So this simple little earring does not have an ear wire because I actually have my gold-filled lever back interchangeable ear wires here, just sitting off to the side. And so that one's gotten a little bit bent. I wear these so much. So my earring is ready, but I have to show you guys something else. If you did not see my recent video, I was thinking about these interchangeable ear wires and what I could do as an alternative. So I took some 18 gauge wire and an oval mandrel that I have. You could also use a round, like a ring mandrel, and I used the little end caps that are supposed to go on memory wire. They are an alternative to finishing off memory wire if you don't want to turn a loop. They are glue on little end beads for memory wire, and I created this cool shape, and they are interchangeable. So let me show you. I really love the option of not having to put an ear wire on everything. And this could, look at this. It's so gorgeous. It's so gorgeous. It's a simple kind of a contemporary hoop, and I love it. It's so easy to change the drops, but also like this could just be worn just as a hoop. And it's 18 gauge wire with the anti-tarnish coating. This is 20 gauge with the anti-tarnish coating that I used in this project. So I can link this video if you didn't see it. It's really easy. I really believe that a beginner could do this because there's not a wrong or right as far as your shape. You create the shape, and I do show a little tip for getting these exactly the same in the video. So it's a really good one. So I have two options here, and I'm gonna also show you my head pin. This is a solid brass head pin that is plated and then e-coated. It's from a company called Purity Beads, and I have a discount code for them as well. I can link that in the description box, but these do not tarnish, and so I love that beautiful little ball head pin. You can see it just dots my project with gold. And then from that same company, what you're looking at in this earring is disc spacers. I have a small one and a large one, and then I have this little kind of rondelle brushed. It's got like a brushed finish to it, and I just did a stack graduating my earrings. I opted for the smaller millimeter sizes just because I feel like my necklace is so bold in the larger size. And I use this same head pin to create a little dangle for the back of my necklace. Just let me, I know it's crystal, you can see right through it, but just a beautiful little elegant finishing touch for behind my head. And then I really did decide on these diamond cut gold filled jump rings. These are awesome. These are an Amazon find, and I don't know if you can tell how thick the metal, the base metal is on this, but they are great even for clasps. So I'm going to be using those to do all of my attachments, but let's create this little earring really fast. So I'm just going to repeat the same stack of beads that I did on my first earring. This is one of the 4mm crystals, and then I used a 4mm disc spacer on top of that. And then I went up to the 6mm crystal, and I believe this is an 8mm disc spacer. And then this little, to me, this is kind of like a little lantern or a little saucer bead, but it's a rondelle shape. And can you see the pretty brushed finish? Like it's not it's shiny, but it's got like a brush etching on the bead. So I really love that. And then I'm going to put another 8mm disc spacer and just repeat graduating to that, to that other size. My last little, don't want to miss this little guy. And it is just like, this is the joy of making jewelry, is I just played with my stack until I was happy with the shape that I created. You can change the shape by removing discs. I don't know, I just like this kind of linear drop, and I like the little bit of gold featured right in the middle. And then this is the exact same thing that I've been doing over here. These are solid brass, so the one-step looper does struggle a little bit with thicker gauge wire or brass, but it still does it. So I'm just going to put it in. My 2-inch head pin fits through that guide hole, and I'm going to gently close. I see people popping this closed, and I don't know why you would do that. You lose all control of what you're doing when you do that. So I like to put it in and just make sure that I'm not putting stress on my crystal beads, and then gently close it. It makes that nice blunt cut for me. And then I can see that this crystal is not being pressured as I close. And if it were, stop closing the tool. You can finish with your pliers so you don't damage anything. And then I'm just going to pull my stack down, complete my loop with the tool, and now while it's still in there, I can see that it's perfectly straight. And when I take it away, I have a consistent loop. It's the same as every other loop in my project. And I'm just going to, as I said, the one-step looper with thicker gauge wire or solid brass as these are, it does struggle a little bit, but look at that. It's perfect. It matches the other one, and I think I'm going to opt for my handmade hoops this time. I just think this is it's easy, elegant, timeless, and so fun. It's so gratifying, honestly, you guys. So the quick little pair of coordinating earrings is done, and now we can go ahead and connect our final bits. And again, for beginners, this is super simple. I will also show you how. Now this jump ring was already open, but on the other side I'll show you the proper way to open and close a jump ring. And that Permalac coating, it dries so quickly. It's at least dry enough that I can make my attachment. So I'm going to close this side, and I will show you the proper way to open and close a jump ring on the other connecting, just so that you don't lose your pretty round shape. So it is, my clasp is connected. So if you are brand new to jewelry, you take a hold of your jump ring with 2 pairs of pliers and you twist. So you're going to pull one side of the jump ring toward you and push one side away like that. Because if you try to pull this way, you will ruin the shape of your jump ring, and you will never get it back to a perfect circle again. Plus it's really hard to push this way with 2 pliers. So then you connect whatever it is that you need to connect. I'm also going to go ahead and put this other jump ring while I have it open right on, because that's going to get attached to this. And then my other end of my necklace, and then it's that same motion again. You twist in the opposite direction, and you can rock back and forth. I don't know if the microphone is picking up that kind of clicking sound. That's metal to metal. So I got an absolutely perfect closure, and I love these diamond cut jump rings because you literally cannot tell that it's not a solid ring. This one could use a little adjustment. So the closure on my piece is done. Now sometimes with the Permalac coating on a magnetic closure, sometimes, oh, I didn't do it that time, sometimes you have to kind of break that seal, but I just love that. And this will not tarnish now as it sits on the back of my neck. And then I'm going to open the simple loop on my little dangle here and attach it to this jump ring. Close it really well, and then my piece is a real treasure. It's quality jewelry art. I have a little embellishment at the back of my neck. I wear my hair up a lot, so that just makes my piece beautiful from every vantage point. And this is easy on and off. And I have these gorgeous earrings also to go with it. I have to say, I'm so excited about this project. As simple and basic as it is, I just think it could not be lovelier. So I thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to check the description box, because anything that I've used that I am able to link, or that I know where I got it, and any other videos like my ear wire video, if you like my ring or anything that I'm wearing, I always put all of that information in my description box, and my boxes are quite comprehensive. So sometimes you have to tap more under the video and then more another time to see the entire box. But all of that information is there for you. It saves you a little bit of time if you're trying to do one of my projects. And so again, thank you so much for watching. I hope everybody's safe and well and having fun on your beading mats. Ciao, jewelry making friends.